And today my load is old and ugly rock crusher. Weight is about, they told me 70,000 pounds, but then the shipper here said because it's a old model, like there's supposed to be a whole bunch of equipment on the outside, like you showed me a brand new one, and he says it's only then it's 70,000, so it's 60. And as we can see, it sits on its own frame. Basically rocks are crushed into gravel, I think, right? Something like this. And I always ask the shipper how to tie it down, you know, like on their asking for their recommendations, and they said, yeah, everybody uses these kind of like arms, because this is part of the crusher, whereas this is the frame, and the crusher only sits on the frame with connected with these 4 bolts, one on each corner, right? So you want to make, I wanted to make sure that the actual crusher is secured as well, right? So I put 4 chains, one on each corner, so 11,300 WLL for the pair, but 2 chains, that means it's only good for what, 44,000 pounds, which is not enough. So I need at least 1 more pair, right? And how do you put a pair? I asked them to, you see how I load like this usually, even though the end is a bit heavier because of that big opening, this piece of pipe in there. The guy told me that I always ask, another question I always ask is it equal weight? Is one side heavier, or is one part of the machine heavier? But you know, I have 3 axles on the back, right? It's better to put the weight towards the rear of the trailer. So I said, where's the center? He said, well, roughly over here. So, well, put it where my light is. And so I need 1 more pair of chains, 1 long chain or 2 short ones, but you see my D-rings over here, right? So I figured out, what the heck, so I put 4 more. As you guys probably know, my customer is always put more chains, so now I have 8 chains or 4 pairs on this thing, which is basically good for roughly what, 85,000 pounds. But this is one old ugly piece. So what is this? SVMONS. That's not even Simon's, it's has a V, the second letter is V. So I loaded in, this is Oshawa, Ontario, just east of Toronto, and I'm going 4 hours north of Toronto towards Sudbury. So basically what, 250 miles. So finally I'm doing something for my truck, something heavy. I like heavy, it pays good, and it's only 9 feet 3 inches wide, and I measured from the top, it's 11 from the ground. I'm 11 feet 8 inches, which is way below the 13.6 legal. I wonder how they crush this. Okay, I understand that probably something rotates here, and that's what I'm thinking. There's probably a big blade here, rotates, and that's where the final product gets out, like probably gravel, right? And the big rocks are loaded from the top here, but where's the knife or the actual crusher? It just spins in there, right? So I think what these guys did here, they added this part, the top part, but I'm not a rock crushing specialist. My job is to pick it up, secure it, and deliver it without injuring civilians. And I think I'm good. The chains are in place. I send the email to my dispatch saying that I'm loaded and I'm leaving shipper. Flags are in place. Oh, let's turn on my funky light, disco light. Where is it? Over here. Yes, We're ready to rock and roll. Disco time. And right behind this big wall, no, it's not China, but that's the freeway, 401. So I got 6 axles down. And I'm on
left on Toronto Avenue. Enter. Take the entrance to the left in 40 meters.
I'm on the way to Sudbury. Just don't want to run over any cars here. It's like a residential area, and they have a plant, like a shop. Right in the residential area. But first I gotta get some fuel, and the bad thing about that is that my fuel card in Canada works at Fifth Wheel truck stop, Irving, and Flying J and TA, but there's only one TA for the entire Canada, Woodstock. I'm not going there. And Irving is mostly in Quebec, and Fifth Wheel, yeah, look at this guy. See, I'm sitting here with my blinker and he parks right in front of me. Like, what do you do in this situation? Oh, someone was commenting that he was surprised how cars were yielding to me. Well, they were yielding because I was pushing. Because you see what happens, like this guy? And now look at this guy. Alright? I have to go. And sometimes you just have to treat people like small children, right? Well, this guy, I'm gonna hit him with my trailer if he doesn't move. So now they're moving, okay. Now, last danger is hitting this island in the middle. So I'm gonna go like this. Two feet, the distance between the rear wheels and the island. I hate these islands. Why do they waste money on them? But anyway, so Fifth Wheel closed its operation in Canada. So there's no more Fifth Wheel truck stops, you know? Which is bad news for me, because that's where I used to buy fuel, right? And why I'm saying this is because now, okay, I'm going to Sudbury. There was another Fifth Wheel over there, but now it's no more. And I remembered, wait a second, there's a very old ugly Flying J over here in Pickering, and I used my Rand McNally to search for points of interest, and it says, yeah, 20 kilometers Flying J, which is what, like 12 miles, 13 miles, and I have half a tank of diesel, so we're good. So that's where I'm heading, and that will be my first stop, and I'm gonna check all my chains, all the 8 chains. But like I said, you know, yeah, I put in much more chains, but the problem is you gotta keep it symmetrical, right? I cannot just put 2 chains on the front or 2 in the back, because then it just doesn't look good, you know. I like when things are symmetrical, when they make sense, and that's why I put so many chains, because this thing is kind of like round, right? Oh, we're gonna take it easy today. The cruise control is set at 92 kilometers an hour, 57 miles an hour. Our cruising altitude is 0 meters above the sea level, and the visibility is 100 by 100, I think. Or as my father used to say in aviation, what did they use? They said kilometer na kilometer, no. Kilometer by kilometer, no. It was like 20 by 20, I forgot. Anyway. Oh yeah, and I got up, the funny part is that the Murphy's Law in trucking, another law I discovered, is that when you end up your week in a town, usually 1 or 2 hours away from your home, then Monday you are reloading in the same town. Oh look, the scale is open for those poor people going west on 401, so I'm going east towards Toronto. So anyway, I was here. I picked up a load where? In Guelph, and then I went to, oh okay, but before that I was in Oshawa. Okay, at least Friday evening I was in Burlington, basically near Hamilton, right? And then what do? I don't want to sit there till Monday, even though I knew that I was loading in Oshawa, so I went home to Cambridge, and it's 136 kilometers via Toronto. There's no other way, right? So I set up the alarm for 4:30 in the morning, and I was on the freeway in 401 at 5 o'clock. And surprisingly, I flew through Toronto with no slowing down. I think I hit my brakes like once. There was no jams, nothing. I was over here, I was at the shipper, my appointment was for 8, I was there at 7:02, or actually like 6:55, yeah, like 5 minutes to 7. So I sent a message to my dispatch, I'm at the shipper. And then what do? Whole hour, I checked the door was closed to the shop, but I see some pickup trucks in the front, but the door is locked. So I went and found McDonald's and got some coffee, used the bathroom, and walked back, and by that time the door was open, so I was able to go inside and find a guy in shipping and ask him to show me what I'm picking up. You always want to make sure that the measurements are correct. So he showed me the piece, I measured it. Yeah, it was oversized. So they said give us half an hour. Okay, so I went outside, and while I was waiting for them to get ready, because they had to clear some stuff out of the way, they loaded me with a crane, with a ceiling crane, and I just backed into the plant. And I used that time to install my signs, oversized load signs and flags, and got my chains out, my binders, and that's it. This is you know, no tarp, a relatively easy load, simple, because you don't have to wreck your brain where to hook up your chains, because this thing has so many ways of tying it down. You know, I like it.